Good evening. You're listening to Ripon Common Sense Radio. Thanks for joining us live. The broadcast will begin in just a few moments. If you are listening on YouTube, please say hello in the chat or the video comments below. The program will begin shortly.
Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt sign.
Good evening and welcome on the second Tuesday of the month, October 12th, to another episode of Common Sense Council. I'm your host, AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Give yourselves a round of applause for being smart enough to be here. Tonight, we investigate the Ripon Common Sense. Hi, everyone. Jerry Hicks unfortunately cannot make it this evening due to a scheduling conflict, but nevertheless, we are here for you live. Welcome, Sandy B. Great to see you. She says, this should be interesting. I think so, Sandy. Terry Taggart says, yes, people of Ripon must rise. And Scarecrow Strawman with cheers and waves coming in from JoJo's. Hi, JoJo's. How are you? So I'm going to bring you up to date. We started a little bit earlier tonight. The council meeting in Ripon, Wisconsin is set to take place at 7 p.m. Central Time, which is just about 20 minutes from now or so. And during that time, during this 20 minutes, we expect that we're able to get a bird's eye view into the room this evening as we have a reporter on the ground there who is going to attempt to bring us live coverage as the events unfold this evening regarding the Common Council meeting of Ripon, Wisconsin. Now, in case you're not aware of what this is all about, I'm going to bring you up to date, okay? Last week, 2 weeks ago, about 12 days ago, according to this, we published a story on RiponRabbitHole.com, the headline of which read, Ripon City Face Covering Policy Challenged and Not Enforced. Now, in 12 days, that article has received 665 views. And there's a noticeable difference on the Ripon YouTube channel as well as a result of this article. But basically, our very first Common Council show that we did on September 27th was the fourth Monday of the month, which we're going to do again, especially following tonight's council meeting. This is like reality council, right? But nevertheless, members of the community, strong members of the community, stood up against this face covering policy. Now, Ripon is not unlike other small communities across this state, across this nation, and quite honestly, across the world. These lessons that are being shared with us are very, very important, not just for the residents of Ripon, but for the overall community as a whole worldwide, not just our backyard of Ripon, Wisconsin. So that's why we're bringing this information to you. And like I stated, we released this article 12 days ago. It's had 665 views worldwide, and we've gauged reactions. If we scroll to the bottom of the article here, we'll see that 7 of the people found anger when reading this article. 1 person cried. 3 people thought it was cool. 4 people laughed out loud. 4 people absolutely loved it. 4 people said OMG. And 3 people said WTF, right? Let's go Biden. But here's the gist of it. If you're just paying attention to tonight's broadcast for the first time and you don't know exactly how this story developed or what this story exactly means, I'm going to catch you up to speed in the next few moments before the actual meeting live begins. So what we have here is Ripon's new face covering policy was challenged on Monday, September 27th at the Common Council meeting. Those opposing the approved face covering policy argued it lacks greatly definition, and 2/3 of the public who showed up to challenge the policy did so absolutely maskless. Despite the policy stating members of the public who refuse to follow this directive will not be permitted to enter the city building or facility, or will be asked to leave the building or facility, and the city will make reasonable arrangements to facilitate the conduct of city business with the members of the public who do not comply. Again, on September 27th, members of the community, 2/3 of the people who showed up to speak against this policy actually did so with authority. Orlando Neves, a citizen of Ripon and a member of the international press, stood at the public podium without any face covering, asking, is this an ordinance or a policy, right? Common sense tells you you have to question these things. You have to trust but verify. And in today's world, it's extremely challenging and difficult to actually be able to verify. But he wanted to know, is this an ordinance or a policy? And what happens if he doesn't comply with this policy? And what happens if he doesn't comply with a request to leave the building for not complying with this building, especially at an open public meeting? What happens? Can I be arrested? Can I be trespassed? Will I be fined? If so, who do I pay the fine to? And more important, how much is it? These are questions you should be able to ask if these types of policies are being implemented at a local level. And this is why the Common Sense Council show is going to become important in the upcoming days, weeks, months ahead of us. Because this is what is important for you to be paying attention to in your own backyard. All right? All of us have these blinders on, and we look nationally at what's taking place at a global level here in the United States. And we forget to think about what's happening in our own backyard. And these types of ordinances, these types of policies are appearing on city council agendas all across the nation. And it's time for you, the general public, you, the people, to pay attention to what's happening in your backyard. To go to your city's website. I'm going to take you to ours. All right. It's city of Ripon, Ripon.com. All right. And when you get here to your city's website, you want to look for an area that most areas have called agendas and meetings. And then you want to look at the city council. And then you're going to get all of the agendas and the minutes of all the things that are up and coming. Like tonight, here is the agenda publicly available tonight. There's going to be a call to order and a roll call. There'll be a pledge of allegiance and a prayer tonight said by Kevin Mundell. And then they're going to approve the agenda, and then they're going to move right into public communications and comment, which is a allotted 5-minute period of time for any member of the community who wants to stand at the podium and address their local city government. That means you. Hi, Raider Champion. Great to see you. Juanito 1975 in the room tonight as well. Great to see you. Scarecrow, Strawman, let's go, Brandon. And this is the time that is allotted that these people are going to be able to use, like they did in the September 27th meeting, to be able to stand to the podium and address the city council publicly. And, of course, as we look further in the agenda, there isn't anything that we see on the action or decision items tonight that even remotely come close to asking or answering the questions that were asked last week. So these members that looked like deer in headlights of the city council when Orlando asked these questions, they absolutely had nothing to say. Even the alderman in the room with the loudest mouth remained silent. All right, let's take a look at it because we weren't able to be there last time. So let's listen closely here to Orlando.
An international intelligence report for U.S. presidency. I have
Let's go then.
certain questions regarding these mandates.
Oh, we've actually got Orlando live right now.
Anything that man.
You can hear us, and I can hear you, and I can see you, Orlando. I know you're getting ready to head on out over there, but this is great, actually. So I am going to have to mute that for the moment because we have a live feed, folks, tonight. We do. We have a live feed. Let's see if we actually have a live feed from Ripon, if they're preparing. Okay, so 5 minutes ago, they actually streamed, 5 minutes ago, the fire district and second budget meeting of 10 tonight with 3 views. 5 minutes ago, they were live from the building. So this is hopeful, folks. We might be able to get a live stream from the chamber tonight on their YouTube channel, which means excellent volume and excellent video. However, in case they choose not to stream this again tonight like they did on the 27th, then we do have a connection to a video inside the room tonight as members of the community are on their way to City Hall. So, again, Mr. Neves exercised his religious right of exemption in accordance with the city policy, speaking publicly without a face mask per exclamation of his Christian faith. And next to speak was a man that we had on our show last Friday night, resident from Ripon, Rob Wichow, a former Marine who actually defended our rights and freedoms as Americans, and he's demonstrated his right not to comply, and he spoke maskless to the council as well. And there he is, standing tall and proud up there at the podium And this is basically what he said. After how long this has been going on, everyone is educated enough to know that it's their choice. We all know the risks. We all know the benefits. Whatever side you're on, I don't care. I mean, that's brilliant. Brilliant words from Rob, right? Yeah, Rob. Yay, says Sandy B. I agree. Hi, Michael Fontaine. Great to have you here with us tonight as well, as we're 6:47, about 10 minutes away from what we believe will be the start of the meeting. Rob continued, I'm just simply asking, since you guys did rush it and didn't really think about everything, how am I, a citizen, going to be accommodated to come to these meetings from here on out? Now, unlike Orlando, Mr. Witchell simply claimed his constitutional right of choosing not to comply with the face covering policy. And back here in the back of the room, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not in this, but back in what looks like a coat closet with a black mask on and a brown shirt is the chief of police, Wallner, for the city of Ripon. And if you look off to the back here, you'll see the uniformed officer that came into the room upon their arrival. But nevertheless, this is the officer in charge. This is the chief back here in the corner, behind Rob's right shoulder, back in the back of the room. And he basically sat there, basically with his arms crossed, and remained, completely composed. And it appeared that he had absolutely zero interest or intention of enforcing this ridiculous city policy whatsoever. Because I think he knows better. I hope Rob is there tonight as well, Sandy B. I have a feeling all three of them are going to be back there again tonight. I really do. But again, he asked very valid questions, but unlike Orlando, he simply claimed his constitutional right of exemption and didn't have to state, but he chose not to comply. And last to speak on the subject is our longtime listener and Ripon Rabbit member, Z Rabbit, Scott Zemlicka, who actually chose to wear his face covering and was choosing to be in compliance. But yet, he asked perhaps the most challenged questions of the policy that night. I'm just going to tune in here to the live feed as I see activity. Hi, guys. Can you hear me? It's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Orlando, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Excellent. I can hear you. I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to stop sharing here my screen so that we can see. We have a live footage of you, and you are walking up to the building right now. This is City Hall. Orlando, are you wearing your mask?
No, I am not.
Okay,
Wearing my mask.
so the same mode of operandi tonight.
You can see John is there without his mask. So let's see what happens.
Okay, we're going to find out as members are gathering there. There's Rob. Alderman John Splitt of the Ripon City Council is there as well, outside speaking with Rob. Currently appears to be unmasked as well.
Walk in, and they're not throwing anybody out, City Hall if they want to do business. They let them come in, do their business, and then they leave. So they don't want to bring any more attention to it, so I'm not going to put passport on the agenda.
It appears as though they might be stopped at the door.
So you don't expect any situations or nothing?
They're not throwing people out. Adam said that there's people that have come in
Without the mask?
without the mask. They walk up, they pay their bill, and they just blast up there.
Yeah, so 2-3 minutes, and you go in, go out.
They're not making a big deal of it.
So you think they're using the policy, they're using the ordinance, maybe there's no
Not really
policy?
even an ordinance. I think it's just a policy.
What reasonable arrangements have been made for you to attend tonight, Orlando?
100% are going to abide by it.
So, John, what you're telling us is that there are reasonable arrangements then regarding accommodation, because if people are coming into the building and paying their bills and taking care of services and they're not enforcing the mask mandate, because I just telling you.
I don't know. I can't say that because I'm not here when.
But you heard about, because you just said you heard about.
Yeah.
The policy does state that there will be reasonable arrangements made for people that choose not to comply. What reasonable arrangements have been made?
So if you're not enforcing the policy, so then there's no reasonable arrangements to be done if they're not enforcing a policy for those who are not going to be wearing the mask. No reason to have the policy, right? Because
it's
they're
a
not.
valid question, and I don't know how.
Yeah, because there's no way people are coming in and paying their bills and getting services in and out. You're not enforcing the mask.
This is perhaps the new form of reality TV, people. This is live, happening on the ground in Ripon, Wisconsin. What you're watching is Orlando and Rob allegedly being confronted outside of the building, or perhaps being told or informed that there is some sort of a plan for enforcement this evening by Alderman John Splitt, a member of the Ripon City Council. Now, to be fair, John Splitt is the one person on the council that voted to not adapt this mandate. Okay, he voted against this, and he was the only one, and the motion carried 7-1, not in Alderman Splitt's favor. So let's listen back more to the live conversation as it happens. There's Rob Wichow. And it sounds like the audio is a little garbled at the moment, so we're going to let that catch up. Oh. Again, we're doing the very best that we can to bring you a solid stream and a bird's eye view of inside. Oh, and we just lost Orlando live. Now let's see if Ripon City has any kind of YouTube for tonight's meeting. Not yet. Hopefully we're going to be joined by, Orlando is back. Looks like a very choppy connection though. Oh, there we go. Let's bring him in with audio and see if we can hear. Let's hear.
The mask mandate in the city and it's just help protect this weather. They don't want
really seems that there's a bit of a challenge taking place here. We do not know at this point if they have been told that they cannot enter the building. I can tell you this much. They still are not inside the building at this moment, which normally they should be checking in and given their opportunity to speak tonight. Guys, can you hear me? What's going on?
What the policy is? What the they're going to escort policy is? Or not? They're going to escort somebody else or not? Thanks, John. Yeah. Thanks, John.
Can you hear me?
I can, Orlando. Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yes, but look. Can you see me? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
I can see you, and I can hear you. Yes. I can.
Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can.
Yes, we are live on the air right now. Little bit of a connection hiccup here with you guys. It's not as looks like we may have lost you again. Connection interrupted, but I'm not certain, but it appears as though you're not allowed to enter the building. Is that correct? Nope, we've lost them again. We're going to keep an eye on the City of Ripon website, looking for a live stream coming in from inside the building to give us more clarity. It looks like, hi, Chow Fun, hola. Hi, Terry Taggart. It is a live mystery. It really is. Do I have to come over there, says Terry Taggart? Perhaps. We need your internet. We might need you to run the equipment. We have no connection at this point. And there we go. It's been completely dropped. So we'll wait, fingers crossed, to see if we get back from Orlando. But the meeting should be called to order in the next 2 minutes if everything runs on schedule. And these are the same men that were there. Rob Orlando, who was just there, is back again. The only person that complied was Z Rabbit. And we have no idea if Z Rabbit is in attendance tonight. And if he is in compliance, he may be the only one able to speak to the council tonight. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea if we're going to be able to get a live view or live stream coming in from our reporter Orlando on the ground, Orlando Rabbit. Let's hear it in the chat room, right? 100 for these guys and the effort and the dedication that they're putting in tonight for standing up against this absolutely ridiculous policy based on perhaps absolutely ridiculous data. That's what we're looking to find out, is exactly where this particular graph came from that Z Rabbit spoke about when he took to the podium last time. He wanted to know, where did this graph come from? Let's listen to his comments from September 27th while we wait.
One question I had, well, I have several. The graph that was used in September 14th meeting, that was used to support the approval of this policy. Why was that not included in the September 14th agenda packet and not supplied?
Very valid question at that point. You know, when something is being introduced at a public meeting, it should be included in the agenda packet. All right. That's what the public open law meeting laws state. That's to inform the general public of exactly what it is you're going to talk about in these public open meetings. So that was a very valid and brilliant question.
And the September 14th minutes published.
So not only were they not in the agenda packet, but they were also not followed up and published in the actual meeting minutes, which, you know, is kind of confusing, right?
Where did the graph come from?
Where did the graph come from? Important question.
Where can I find it?
Where can I find it? Another important question.
What test?
All right. It looks like we've got Orlando back. Let's see. I'm going to pause this for a moment. Orlando, are you back with us? I don't see anything on your camera. I see you in the room. 42 James, welcome. Great to see you. On a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right? It happens the second Tuesday and the fourth Monday. It's a show that we just started called Common Sense Council. I have a black screen inside the room right now. I have no feedback to what's going on. Having problems, says Orlando, as we just got a text message from him having problems, he says, trying to connect. We don't know. Let's check YouTube. Let's see if Ripon has gone live. They should be well underway. Oh, here we go. Council meeting. Let's listen. There's Orlando in the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we ask your blessing upon this meeting. We ask your peace to rest upon everyone here. Open our ears, our hearts, our minds to hear the things that need to be said, to listen, to discern deeply, and to trust in one another and believe in one another. Let your grace abound. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
Second.
Been moved by Paige, seconded by John Split. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. All right, moving into public comment. We have a few tonight. This is the opportunity for citizens to come before the council with comments and concerns on any current city issue, knowing no action will be taken tonight. I ask that you keep it civil and respectful and within 5 minutes. However, discussion of personnel or individual members of the Common Council shall not be permitted. I expect you to be respectful, and in return, I expect the council to treat the citizens with the same respect. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. First one is Scott. Last name is Zemlicka.
My name is Scott Zemlicka. My address is N7847 County Road E, and I just wanted to submit some questions that I asked at the last council meeting for the record.
All right.
Who do I give them to?
I'll come grab them for you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Orlando Nevis.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Orlando Neves from Christian International and Intelligence Report, registered member of U.S. Press Agency. I was last time September 27. I issued some questions that I addressed to the Honorable Council. I have this sheet also that I would want to pass, if it's possible, regarding questions I made last time, which I haven't got the answers. Maybe you're working on the answers regarding reasonable arrangements, accommodations, religious exemptions, religious people, right? So I don't know if you're working on it or if not, but with all due respect, we present these questions in the best time possible that we can get some reasonable answers. Thank you.
Thank you. And last is Rob Wichow.
Good evening. My name is Rob Wichow, 223 Union Street. How you guys doing tonight? I'd like to also submit what I'm about to say tonight and my findings. Thank you, Mr. Hanson. All right, sorry for the reading. Usually I like to go off the cuff, but got a lot to cover quick. As you guys all know, I'm not a journalist by any means, but I can assure you, unbeknownst to you, the spotlight of the journalism is on the city of Ripon. Worldwide people are paying attention to what we, the people, are addressing in the policy, and more importantly, in how the city body are handling it right now. During the September 14th meeting, when the policy was approved, all the body had zero consideration or absolutely no discussion regarding the general public, me, someone who is not a city employee, and how the policy affects the members of the community like me. The entire discussion was about city employees and officials only. You never considered us in your actions, and I ask why. Last time I was here, I received 0 answers to the question, understandably because it was new business. But as far as I'm aware, please correct me if I'm wrong, absolutely nothing has been done to address the questions I or my fellow Americans and residents of Ripon that night were asked. No further discussion has been had, no further action has been taken, no answers provided. Will you be answering any questions tonight? I'm assuming not, since it's new business, correct?
Correct.
Per the policy, exemptions that you approve that I fall under, what reasonable accommodations have been made since last time for citizens who do not comply with the face covering policy to attend this and or meetings in the future per the open meeting compliance and law, for no exception or reason at all. Now, my question to everyone here on council tonight is, if you do have proof of a vaccination, does that fall under the exemption, and are masks still required? The 3-letter agencies, the CDC, WHO, NIH, have all announced that the discontinued use of the RT-PCR test will discontinue as of December 31st due to false positives. Yet data combined continues to gather from the administration of these tests that you as a council have apparently made the decision to pass the policy based on that data that comes from tests on blind faith, without further any clarification or verification whatsoever. I have an attachment included with what I submitted to you guys. So basically, we're supposed to go on trust but not verify. Besides the government agencies and their information that they have provided publicly, what opposing research has this council done to formulate any non-biased decision before they vote? I suggest a motion to make further discussion in the future to regard this and abolish the policy or work together so there is, as I was approached to earlier tonight by an alderman, that it seems to be going well and nobody's having any issues. But what if there's issues in the future? And then where do we stand again, since the mandate is so vague in its entirety? And now I'm going to quote a definition of a weapon, as I know very well what the definition of a weapon is, and I also Googled it. And it says, a means of contending against another. So if I have a view and you have a view, but you don't like my view, you are contending against me with a mandate or a recommended policy. I also want to go on record that OSHA has not changed their stance on anything, even with the government harassing them to change their recommendations. And I just want to end with a quote. You may think it's ignorant, but it is simplistic in how it's stated. Why do the protected need to be protected from the unprotected, but forcing the unprotected to use the protection that didn't protect the protected in the first place? Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Moving on to next order of business is accepting the informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to accept them as published?
So it looks like at this moment that the 3 individuals were allowed to speak. Now, I'm a little bit confused why there was just a submission of the questions and why the time allotted to speak publicly was not granted or for whatever reason didn't take place for both Orlando or Z Rabbit in the House tonight. But we did get a live view tonight from the city who did stream this council meeting, and now we're looking from Orlando's point of view into the chamber itself. And Z Rabbit is here as well. My anticipation, according to this particular council agenda now, as we review it, we will see that they have just held the public communications and comment section, and now they're going to move on to the accepting of informational reports from standing committees and staff, which include the historic preservation minutes all the way down to the city administrator report. Then they're going to look at their calendar. Then they're going to assess the Common Council minutes from the 14th and the 27th, which is where all of this began. And then there's going to be further action items, an application for the city of Ripon for malt beverage, and then a labor agreement between the city of Ripon and another entity, then resolution to ambulance bills, and resolution establishing wards within the county districts, and an ordinance to create Chapter 6.3 outdoor open container entertainment event permits will take place. Then they're going to get a project update and staff reports.
I think I got mine up just at that.
And then we've got the mayor's communications and appointments, and then we'll have agenda items for future council meetings. And this is the item we really want to watch for tonight, which we probably will not wade through this entire meeting. We'll do a follow-up report in the AM. But let's switch back over now. I think I heard Z Rabbit. Z, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. My top hat's off, and 100s coming in from our listeners across the world tonight for you guys, standing up there and doing what you did. Tell us about what happened. We had a very bad connection, but we had a very clear connection from the City of Ripon's YouTube channel, which allowed us to see what took place in the room tonight. Now, I noticed that both you and Orlando didn't really speak, but you submitted your questions. Now, what was the thought process and reasoning there?
Well, I didn't want to take up too much of the time and reiterate the same questions I had last time, but I did want to submit them for the record so it is on record and not swept under the rug.
Okay, good. And Rob went through his full 5 minutes of time tonight and seemed to be well composed and made some brilliant and accurate statements. And all of the things that both you, Orlando, and Rob were entered into the record this evening, so they should be available come the future when we see the minutes of tonight's meeting actually published.
Hey, can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Go ahead, Orlando.
Yes, well, let me tell you something. We had a little conversation with John, and it seems they're not going to be doing nothing of nothing. John, the alderman, we spoke with him outside. Rob was with us at the beginning, and we've been hearing there was no resistance today whatsoever. No polices. The chief was calm. He said hello. They were not enforcing the mask.
No second officer either.
No second officer.
Good,
No resistance
good.
whatsoever. We went, we did our 5 minutes. Usually, I'm not going to repeat everything I said on the September 27th, but we did submit the sheet.
Yep.
The questions, and I also identified myself that we needed answers. It seems that maybe there's not a policy because they're not enforcing it. So even we heard that people have been coming in to the building, paying bills, doing their services, whatever, and they're not enforcing the mask. So what I'm seeing is that I believe that September 27th, we gave them a wake-up call to let them know we're watching and we know what's going on. But today we came in, like I said, no resistance whatsoever, no mask mandate, no intervention, no nothing. On the contrary, they were more friendly, more welcoming. Even a couple of aldermen said hi to me and asked me a couple of questions and stuff. So I think eventually they're going to have to, accommodate everything and then they don't have the answers, period.
Yeah,
They
I
don't have
agree with
answers.
you, and so does the audience listening as well. Terry Taggart says it's not a law, and they all know it. And it was one of those things that Rob addressed very early on, that this whole thing was rushed, and it wasn't really thought through. And especially the points that he made tonight, there was zero consideration for the general public and the citizens of Ripon when it came to this. So this is really groundbreaking stuff, Orlando. It really is.
John said he was
not going to motion
to discuss
to
the
discuss
situation of the matters in place. In the next, he did not motion, so I don't know. I think this is something that it's a victory for us because we the people, power the people, they folded. They just put it in the drawer.
John folded a half an hour before.
Yeah, so it's folded, and I don't think they're going to keep on forcing this. So we have established a precedent.
That's very good, and we're going to keep an eye on the rest of the council meeting tonight, and we will do a follow-up report once the meeting is completed as to whether or not that they did put any action or agenda item on the upcoming meeting. As JoJo's pointed out, they need to get it slotted on the next meeting agenda, and according to the way that the agenda is working, they're going to have this ability to do that at the end of the meeting just before they adjourn. But I can tell all of you, you've got tremendous support coming in from the listeners and the viewers across the world tonight. And we take our top hats off and we applaud you for actually standing up and doing what it is that you've done tonight for freedom as well as yourselves. So all of you deserve a big top hats off.
Okay, excellent. We'll keep in contact and we'll keep the pressure on.
Are you staying on for a bit, Aaron?
Yeah. Hey, Rob. Nice to hear your voice. Congratulations. It was great. We actually were able to see your presentation this evening from the Ripon channel, and we had solid video, solid microphone, and you made some incredible points tonight, Rob.
Let me give you a heads up, AJ. I did hear that John said from a question that Rob was making outside, if the mask mandate from the school districts are related to us here in the city hall, and I kind of heard that no, that the school district has their own things, their own mask mandates, and their policies in place, but the city hall has theirs. They didn't establish policies in the city because of the school district that we know of, and adults and finding.
Well, I can tell you 100s coming in across the board tonight from Sandy B, Terry Taggart, JoJo's says a victory in my book, says JoJo's. I agree with you 100%. Sandy B says, super, Rob. Top hats off with a thumbs up. Sandy could be your biggest fan. Go-Kart Bob says, yes, great show. He's been lurking. But Rob, tell us about what took place in your opinion. Give us your take on the situation tonight.
They folded. The guy that I've been talking to, he's done this to me before in the last hour on a different issue a year or two ago. Yep, we're gonna.
Oh, I think we lost you. Darn it. Come back. Come back. There you are. We hear you now.
All right. What was the last thing you heard?
They folded. That's a victory to me. They folded.
No, as in they folded it, what they were telling me face to face and on the phone prior to the meeting and everything else a year ago. Once they got in the two meetings, multiple aldermen folded on what they told me they were going to stand up for.
Got it. So it was kind of like, they went against what you had discussed.
Exactly, and what they reassured me that they would do, and that's exactly what happened again tonight with a certain alderman, and that's what I brought up off the hip since he approached us outside the city building and he stated that he had met with Adam, the secretary, or whatever his billet is. That
the city administrator, Adam Sontag.
Administrator.
Mm-hmm.
That they have not seen anybody having any issues or problems with coming in and paying their bill or anything to that effect because they have plexiglass in place and they don't see an issue where anybody's going to challenge anybody. And I said, well, what about future problems at, say, the library? He reassured that the library should be just like City Hall. I said, well, what if it's not? What if we want to come into City Hall or the library and falling under said exemptions that were set forth in the mandate? The library, as I've seen in other audits across the United States, raising awareness for our civil rights has been challenged because of their own policies.
Mm-hmm.
And what if Ripon Library just...
I think are you there? The connection is very spotty tonight, and we witnessed a little bit of that.
What was the last thing you heard?
There you go. Again, there's been no problems. The city has kind of got this policy, but they're not willing to enforce it because they know better. But Rob, how important is it for our listeners worldwide to understand what's going on in their own backyard?
Well, from what I understand, I've seen it happen numerous times, and tonight was another fine example. They can tell you one thing to your face or over the phone, but then they sell you snake oil, and then what do you got? And that's exactly what happened. Because then I asked the direct question, well, if nobody is in opposition and there hasn't been any problem, then why even have the mandate in place anymore, and let's abolish it? And he says, well, that's your right. I said, I know it is, and that's what I'll be bringing up again tonight.
Well,
and
good for you for doing so. I mean,
that's why I brought it up, that I was approached outside tonight, that what I was reassured was not going to happen tonight, and I'm very saddened once again with these elected officials.
Actually do. It's double speak, according to George Orwellian 1984. This is what we see as double speak, and I think
he told me that after we spoke tonight, that he would make a motion to hear discussion for the next meeting, and I had multiple conversations. And 1 hour before the meeting, I contacted him via phone, and he still reassured me. But then he met us outside, as I said, and said he spoke with the other individual, Adam, and said he would not be making a motion. And he's done this before.
Well, that's interesting information, Rob. It really is, because I think that, and I may be wrong, but I think that any alderman that sits on city council has the right to make any motion they wish, regardless of what the city administrator says, who, by the way, has no vote when it comes to decision making for the city. Nevertheless,
but what he's getting at, to interrupt you, sorry, but what he's getting at is nobody's rocking the boat, but nobody's enforcing it. So once again, this is redundancy. That why have it on the books and just be done and do away with it? They're leaving it open because in case anything happens, then they got you.
Especially should the conversation turn to other topics, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they decide to enforce this. Realistically, the policy just shouldn't be there, period.
Let me tell you something, AJ. One of the ladies, alderwoman, the one who was right on your right, Rob?
Jolene Schatzinger.
Yeah, she came to me to ask me, is Christian International and Intelligence Report a new chapter here in Ripon? You know, she was asking me, and I said, well, why? You want to join? You know, she just smiled and just, turned back and just went back to the council. But
My
Well,
take
again,
is
again, persecution for the exemption is something that is not off of the table yet, because the policy still exists. Regardless of if they're enforcing it tonight or not, it's still on record. It still exists as an official policy.
That was my next question, because we need to keep the pressure on. We need to keep moving forward, because we need to watch these people. Like Rob said, they say something, it's all deception, it's all lie, okay? They can say whatever they do, but then again, there was no motion presented today.
Well, we're going to find out. We don't know that that's the case.
We wanted that motion, and he did not do it. He's supposed to do it,
He has to do it at the end of the meeting. There is a specific.
We hope so. You're going to be watching the whole thing, right?
Yes, we're going to watch all the way, and we're going to report on how this meeting ends tonight. And we believe, hopefully, if John is going to do what Rob said, that he would do so during the very last point in the agenda. He would do it under the right before adjournment. Now, interesting to note.
He already stated he will not be doing it.
He will not.
Okay. Well, again, we have to see what the mayor's communications and appointments are just before the agenda items are up for consideration. Because keep in mind that during the 27th meeting, it was at that time that the mayor chose to use his pulpit for some political theater and threw out a bunch of information to the community that ultimately caused that same alderman, Mr. John Split, to stand up and split. He said, "That's it, I'm out."
But let me tell you something, AJ. John, I asked him outside, "Are you going to wear the mask?" He said, "Yes, I'm going to wear the mask because of respect to my people here, But again, respect to who? To the aldermen and the council. What about the respect to the people of Ripon? He voted against the CERN. He needs to stick with it.
He should demonstrate
you need
that
to
he's
stand up or shut up, because why would you say something, do something, and not stand firm in your decision and show up without the mask?
Right. Exactly. Good point. Good point.
That's what it is, because then, what? It's what? A beauty contest? I got to be okay with my fellow aldermen, an elected official by the people, for the people, and the vote of Ripon people. Well, we're going to have to see that in the future and organize all this.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Gentlemen, that music means we've come to the
example of all the 3,000 cities we have in the whole USA. What's happening here is happening everywhere.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We've come to the end of tonight's broadcast, our Common Sense Council, second edition, second Tuesday of the month. Final words, guys? Any final closing remarks?
I came, obviously, with both barrels, and I was expecting individuals to stand up with their word, and I'm disappointed for that. And we're just going to keep pushing, because I know they're going to twist this around one way or another.
Right.
And they're skirting the issue, as I stated, that it was a very vague mandate. But now, if it's so vague, then why have...
Rob, that opens up the door to such incredible questions about data in the future. It brings up very important points as to, where is this data coming from? What is the mechanism that allows you to actually weed through the data and verify? And you made solid points there tonight when you said we're just expected to blindly trust, and who's doing the verification? Who's doing the actual, trust but verify aspect of this? And it sounds, according to Raider Champion, our listener from California, like you guys were placated tonight.
Like we were what?
Placated. Like literally, you're the ones that are standing up here, and we're going to cater to, what we have to. But nevertheless, they're the ones that take no action.
Well, there was no resistance today. No officer that they sent like last time, the 27. It was all like peaches and cream, like if nothing has happened. And I think they will know. They won't have the guts to enforce this.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out if they have the guts to or not. In fact, I'm thinking about this. This is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about returning the feed, even though we're at the end of our show tonight, the Common Sense Council. I'm thinking about turning the feed back on and just letting our audience listen, and they can keep an eye on the agenda, and they can hear in real time if anything is actually said about this policy this evening.
That's a great idea.
Put a 1 in the chat room if you guys would like me to do that. Put a 2 if you don't feel like that is something you're interested in. Because I have no problem letting the volume come in, and we can sit here together and watch this meeting unfold, and we'll find out how it ends tonight, because I think it's going to end in more political theater. So put a 1 in the chat room if you'd like to see the broadcast extended and comments heard tonight, and find out what exactly happens at the end of this meeting if this discussion that these gentlemen arose this evening on public record. Top hats off to all of you for that. We've got ones coming in from Sandy B, one from Terry Taggart and JoJo's. So it looks like we're going to stay on air and just let this meeting finish. Even Go-Kart Bob says, yeah, 1, stay on air. We want to know, where does this go? This is a good education for our folks tonight listening, because this is unlike this is no different, I should say, from your own backyard, your own community. These types of meetings are taking place. These types of important community conditions are happening. And here we have the Chief Wallner stepping up to the microphone. Let's just listen quickly.
I kind of expressed that the last time. I don't really have anything else to add. I think it's well documented.
So it looks like they're still battling one of their earlier agenda points on the ordinance for outdoor open container entertainment. But again, there's enough 1s coming in from the chat room that we are going to allow this meeting to play out, and we're going to watch live. If anything happens, as it ought to, there should at very least be a motion for discussion on the table tonight. Guys, our Ripon Rabbits, top hats off to all of you. Rob, Orlando, Z Rabbit, top hats off.
I'm a little pissed off right now.
Well, it's easy. That's easy to understand. But what has got your gourd the most? What's your biggest frustration at the moment?
Well, as you know, we've all been gathering our information and getting our ducks in a row tonight to not go in there like we did 2 weeks ago, half-cocked. And, well, you know, you have a presentation ready to go, and then a guy that you think is, once again, going to be in your corner to open this up and continue to educate the narrow-minded council members that are up there that made that vague mandate, folded 5 minutes before the proceedings.
Yeah.
You know, and whether or not 2 weeks from now, if we would have had that discussion available to us, we would still be educating the rest of the public on that platform through the council meeting 2 weeks from tonight,
right,
to educate the public, but they don't want that.
Nope, they don't want.
You can see that they don't want
the
that.
information shall be suppressed in that aspect. I can tell you,
I'm going to redirect here. I'm going to do some soul searching and thinking here, but I don't back down from any fight, and this is something that's going to have to keep getting pressed. And with the school board and their findings that I know indirectly or not, the findings that the school board does with their testing, which I found out some very interesting facts today.
Ooh.
Between the Fond du Lac County Health Department and then speaking directly over the phone with the superintendent of school system, found out very interesting, mind-blowing facts that a lot of it is appalling. It's right in our face. This is happening in real time. You don't have to be an analyst. You don't have to be a lawyer. You can see the writings on the wall. This is happening in real time in front of our face. The deception,
it's there.
The coercion,
it
the
really
lies,
is.
the manipulation of the truth and data, human error. It's just across the board. And this is what they're basing their decision on, are the last things I just listed.
Mm-hmm. Without verification or any kind of definition.
Well, then again, AJ.
So who fact checks them then?
Right. Exactly. Yes, Orlando. Go ahead.
It's deception.
It really is. It's illusion at that point.
Deception of, that's why Freedom Flame is back. It's back to business.
That's right.
Because we need to represent the truth. The truth
I couldn't agree more. Well, let's find out. The audience has voted to keep this council meeting in session and to continue broadcasting. So we're going to return back now to the October 12th live session of the Common Council to find out if what these gentlemen spoke up about actually gets addressed before the end of their meeting.
To get summary budget done.
Can I say one thing?
Schedule something.
Yes, Scott. Yep, go right ahead.
Those who are unable to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, on that line, AJ, again, it's all about guilty. Okay?
The truth,
so guilty.
The truth will set us free.
Yes, but guilty without action is worthless. It's a waste of time, of emotion, of righteousness. When people, good men and good women, do not do nothing and let evil persist.
Mm-hmm.
The indecence of good
men. Okay, so
indifference.
We need to do something about it, because
I'm gonna let you guys comment all you wish at this point, but we are going to return back into the meeting because according to their agenda, if anything is going to come up, it's going to come up in the next few moments prior to their agenda item at the end of the meeting, because they do have listed on their agenda for the evening, they do have a discussion about the council minutes of September 14th and September 27th. So
Sounds good, AJ.
We want to pay attention
sign off
to that.
Here.
All right.
If you want, I can sign back on my phone because I think Scott's got to get going.
Yeah, go ahead. You've got the link. You know how to get back here to the backstage, and we look forward to hearing from you again. And we're going to keep a close eye on this. For those of you who choose not to listen to the rest of the meeting tonight, we will be doing a follow-up report tomorrow morning that will summarize exactly what took place again tonight. And, of course, we will be back here 2 weeks from tonight, the fourth Monday of the month, for another episode of Common Sense Council. Guys, top hats off to you. Thank you so much for doing what you do in our little Ripon community.
Thank you, AJ, and God bless America.
God bless America. And I do want to say to you, Rob, Sandy B said, hoo-ha, Rob.
That's oorah.
Okay, there was no R, so it was silent, but I knew you would know.
No, I think mine's oorah and hers is ooh-ha, so she must be I'm going to guess Army. Or maybe that's Navy. I don't know how they...
Perhaps. Well, again, thank you. Thank you for all of your service tonight as we return back to the live City of Ripon Common Council meeting for October 12th, 2021. Let's see if this policy...
I'm going to sign off and re-sign in with you, but before I go, and these guys got to take off, I'm going to say thanks to all the men and women, brothers and sisters that have served, and we all stand together, and this is what our great nation's about.
Absolutely. And Sandy,
see you guys in a little bit.
Sandy B confirms, yes, it was Army. So you nailed it, Rob. Thank you so much. Top hats off to all you guys. We're going to go ahead and return back now to the live city council meeting to see if this topic comes up tonight. And if so, what action possibly could be taken.
That I, quite frankly, we weren't really aware of, and Daniela recommended that we at least look at it, and we're kind of rushing toward the end here to try to maybe take advantage of the program, but it's very unique, and we'll present some more on it. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. That's it.
All right. Mike, Public Works?
I think I'll probably have a question or two. The first thing and then I'll get to that one, is the tree removal in the city. So the contractor has been in and out throughout the city. Ashland's doing some tree trimming around some wires so that the tree company can take some of those down. So they still have quite a few of that to take down, and we should see that completed from a takedown standpoint by the end of the month. As far as the compost site, we did get all that brush ground and hauled away. There might be a small pile out there yet. One of the obstacles that we've run into is when working with the DNR, this biochar thing or whatever is still not built, and it won't be built till sometime in 22. So that kind of fallen through, so I'm getting pricing to grind up the wood that's out there from the same company. And if you didn't see that grinder out there grinding, I got a video, it's amazing. It really is. So we might have to address the logs that are currently out there for that. But the compost is almost back to looking pretty good right now. They will come in and grind the stumps and reseed the areas that need it. So there was, if you get calls from constituents, there was some damage to the sidewalks. Please have them let me know, and we'll address that and get that fixed, and that should be on the contractor's nickel, if you will. Okay? Any questions on what's going on with that? Leaves, it's that time of the year again. I don't know if you remember last year's budget. I had in there a new leaf box and a new cantilever system for the leaf vacuum. We've executed both of those rebuilds from the leaf box to the cantilever system. You might have seen it out there. I can't see it. So it's working better. The leaf box is new, obviously, and we've refurbished a lot of the stuff that was on the vacuum. Same motor, just some different things on there. One of the issues that I've seen with this system is the employee had to crawl up on top of the cab to disconnect the leaf box when dumping. That's a safety issue, huge. So now they don't have to do that with the new one. You go out there, you dump it, put it back down, and you're off, okay? So we want to do that conversion over to the remaining models year after year and make it better. I think that the new one here is vacuuming. We talked to little Jim, quite amazingly, actually. It's improved the process of vacuuming. So just a call out to a few of my staff. You know, a lot of the people worked on the leaf box that's in the shop, so great job from them. I really had 4 key people: John Quacco, Gene Reisen, Chris Newens, and Gordy Crump, that assembled the cantilever system and basically engineered it in-house and got that system going. So we can cantilever those now onto the truck, because the front of the trucks are a lot heavier nowadays than they used to be in the past. question, Jolene, on any of that, but I bet you got one more.
No, I think it's appreciative to let also people know to put it up on the, not to have it on the street, the leaves and.
So let's kind of go through the program. So leaves can be put on the terrace anytime, starting immediately, and we'll start full pickup in the city Monday. So we have 3 zones, 1, 2, and 3. In each of those zones, there's a route that the driver must follow, okay? They can't deviate from that. They must follow it and go down there. Go down that route. When they come back in, they have a sheet. They have to highlight where they've been. Okay, so we know where we've been. We date it. That gets turned into Lisa. Why do we do that? So we know where we've been. So when somebody calls in and says, you missed my pile, we were there on this date, okay? So we also know where, basically kind of what's going on, so we can communicate that to people. So that'll start Monday, and it goes to the 3rd Friday in November. Hopefully we don't have any snow in October, but we try to make at least 3 rounds through the city. We'll do everything we can to get 3 passes through the city. If we can do more, great in that time. But at that point, we have to start to convert to plow trucks, all right? That's why we don't continue on any farther. And it takes a lot of time to tear these down and clean them up. So with that being said, we are already starting to work on plow equipment and get that stuff together. We are starting to train now. Coming up, we'll review all our policies, our procedures, and everything, our routes, our brine flow chart, everything, okay? So that everybody's on the same page, all right? Because we don't do it day in and day out. So we need to refresh our memories on that. So leaves, snow. So over the course of this week, you'll see us start wrapping some stuff up also. We got some open paving and things. We're looking at probably Thursday to wrap up this paving and get that stuff over with, and just some fall things that we need to get fixed up. Okay?
That's Mike.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Chief, anything for police department? Nothing? All right. I have no appointments. Just going to say tonight, get vaccinated, be safe, stay healthy, and remember to be kind, considerate, and respectful to others. Any comments or future agenda items from council members? John?
I was just wondering if anybody feels that we should have a discussion item of the face covering policy if we did break any open meeting laws, or if we have, what our arrangements are. It's probably a question for Ludd that would know more, but if anybody
from my
feels that-
perspective, I certainly will talk with the city administrator in detail how it's evolved, because I haven't got a lot of feedback other than the comment that it's going well, and there's been circumstances that have come to our attention that the policy certainly needed to be in place for. So I will talk with him. Certainly, I think that at the direction of the council, you can vote this evening to put it on. I'm not trying to cut you short, but I want an opportunity to kind of go through it again and see where some of these questions, I haven't seen all the questions, I wasn't at the last meeting. So I want to take a look at the questions from the public and see if any of those need to be addressed in a forum like the full council.
Yeah. Then you would, if you find a need, you'll bring that back or add.
That's my feeling, God. If you give me that opportunity to meet, look at the questions, I think certainly the minimum we do is get an answer back to the concerned citizen in one form or another. And then if we feel the necessity of revisiting, we bring that forward to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? John?
Not for the next meeting, but just maybe for the future. I guess it would have been nice maybe if Craig was still here, but whenever that first application comes through for an open container, whatever it is, I'm assuming, I look at Craig because I'm picturing like Dickens of a Christmas. It's going to be the first one. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Wine walk.
It's coming.
Next meeting.
So, my question being is, the first common council meeting after we approve that, can we all get together and maybe have the chief and just sit down and see if anything that we didn't think about, came up, or, if your resources were pushed a little beyond what we originally expected?
A basic review of the event?
Just a review. And we don't have to do it every time, but maybe after the first one or two. So.
We've done that before. Good idea.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So yeah, I have no problem with putting that on the agenda.
Well noted.
Adam, we'll have that on the agenda following the event. Review of the application or the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Join.
Just want to say that last night I was at the open house and there was over at the fire department, and there was representatives from EMS, fire department, the police, our dispatch, emergency dispatch, and it was so neat to see them interacting with kids and our whole community, and it's just wonderful to see that again, a thank you to our emergency services and for making the time to have that for our community.
Yeah, it was a great event.
Very good. Anyone else? No. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Moved by Paige. Is there a second?
Second.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, yeah, no.
Seconded by Howard. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:50.
If you need to do
All right, so that it is the end of the meeting. We will close that out. According to the information that Rob presented tonight, it is been declared on the CDC website that the use of these rapid PCR tests will be discontinued effective December 31st of this year. After that time, they will no longer be in use. So that is of note and interest. Again, top hats off to every single person who joined us tonight in this broadcast. We will be back again next, the fourth Monday of the month for the next council meeting to see what was developed. I know. We're going to find out, and we're going to go further into the rabbit hole, Terry, and we're going to report a follow-up message to the meeting tomorrow. Let's check and make sure. Let's see if Rob is back in here. Rob, is that you? Flippin' Rob, are you there? I don't think so. So he has not rejoined us. So we are going to... Oh, wait a second. Hold on. My headset. Gotta put that headset on there. There we go. Rob, are you there? Nope. So that's it, folks. It has been a Common Sense Council. The next meeting will be very interesting. If they banned it, why now? Right? It might have made it actually to the agenda, JoJo's. We're going to go back and review and listen to the verbiage of exactly how it ended tonight, and we're going to give a full report tomorrow on ripinrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. Isn't this fun? Isn't it fun to pay attention to local government? We can use tonight's broadcast, tonight's model in your own backyard, perhaps. something that you can pay attention to locally, because perhaps this is happening in your own backyard. And if it is, you can take the strength and courage of Rob Wichow, Scott Zimlica, and Orlando Neves with you, should you have to face this kind of tyrannical nonsense, George Orwellian 1984 style tactics. My top hat's off to you, Sandy B, Raider champion, Go-Kart Bob, go Raiders, he says. Terry Taggart, JoJo's. I can't wait to see where this develops. The next meeting is going to be just as cool as tonight. I love this common sense council concept. This is going to be something we're going to stay on top of. Until we meet again, I'm AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Make sure to take care of yourselves and each other. Good night. Oh yeah, hey, if you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, make sure to thumb it up and hit that subscribe button. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. Allison Briscoe, good night. Great to see you here. I'm so glad I didn't see you sneak in. Did you bring a note? Be kind and safe and very aware. That's right, Sandy B. Go-Kart Bob says, okay, thanks, Sandy. Will do. Good night, all.